Welcome back. June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, which is devoted to increasing awareness about the distinct mental health hurdles experienced by men and boys worldwide. It is an important time to shed light on the specific challenges they face, encouraging understanding, empathy, and support for their well being. Joining us now is the attending psychologist, associate director at Supporting Healthy Relationships, Hero Dads at Montefiore Medical Center, Dr. Moshe Moeller. Dr. Moeller, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, to start off, with June being Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, can you tell us a little bit about some of the mental health issues that men face today?
Yes. So today, I mean, after COVID and with inflation going on, I think that a lot of men are experiencing stress concerning finances, concerning emotional well-being of their families, but also really concerned about physical health as well. And I think that additionally, we are looking at a crisis almost of substance use issues uh, that are surrounding our men, specifically regarding marijuana, because recently, the legalization of marijuana, which we understand now it's legal, but can be some really difficult, manifestations if with long-term use of marijuana, like any other substance, really, self-medicating. So I think that, these may be used as, to self-medicate for some of these stressors that they're going through. Um, but I think some of these combined with, let's say, depression and anxiety are some of the leading we have with men nowadays.
Yeah, and with that, can you just describe a little bit of the importance to bring awareness to these issues?
Yes, for sure. So we want the communities, we want our men to be uh, edu- educated in what some of these stressors are for them, some of these detriments, some of these emotional struggles that they're going through, and we need to provide them with services and avenues to be able to express themselves and to get the help if they need it, to provide it for them. And it's really important that our communities don't just focus on men as the people who always have the answers to questions, the ones that don't need help. Men, in general, society have looked at men as the ones who can do everything. And there's a lot of pressure, and sometimes men also feel that there's this pressure that they need to be able to uh, uh, be the rock and not show vulnerability. And we need to be able to allow them to show some of that vulnerability and allow them to ask for help when needed, because there are a lot of men that are suffering in silence, and that shouldn't need to be the case.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that you mentioned the community aspect of it because I wanted to ask you, what is the role that the community can play in addressing men's mental health? How can the community get involved?
Yeah, so one big thing that the community can do is to create spaces where men feel safe to discuss some of these issues. So whether that's displaying, you know, positive role models, uh, whether that's the ambiance in, let's say, a waiting room or a community health center, commercials, uh, how they represent men, representing them that they can also have struggles and that they can get help. And this a lot of times comes from influencers or on social media or sports stars, people that our men look up to, that they need to be able to show some of those vulnerabilities and demonstrate how they work through them, and that other men can do the same. Because otherwise, they just see these men as these powerful figures or these all stars that can do anything. They make so much money, and then they're setting up this portrayal of men as an ideal of what they should be, but it's not really what's happening in the real world. So we need to be able to show men how they can express themselves even when they're feeling vulnerable, and they can ask for help because it's there for them.
Absolutely. And, with that, can you tell me a little bit about the importance? We know that movement and exercise is important and it does help with, creating a healthy mind. So can you just tell me a little bit about the importance of movement and exercise for men?
Yeah. So, I mean, going to the gym, cardio, basketball, sports, playing, all those are important because it allows endorphins to get released in the brain. It provides a person with that calming feeling afterwards. It really increases, first of all, like blood flow. It helps with cardiovascular issues, and a lot of our men do suffer from whether it's cardiovascular, diabetes, or um, you know any other types of respiratory issues, and it really gets the heart pumping, and it keeps a person motivated. It also then trickles down to what they're eating, their lifestyles. When you exercise and you're working out more, you need less sleep actually, and you're also going to eat better, and so it sort of all plays together, and then ultimately your emotional health and your physical health will be um, much better than where you could be without it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's that mind body connection that we hear a lot of people talk about. So, healthy mind, healthy body, it all works together. And
Yeah.
so, right. And so, also, what changes in mental health occur when men become fathers?
Yeah, so this is a really important area. That's one of my passions, fatherhood. And for it can be different for all men. So it could also depend on whether this is right their first child, they have multiple children. Um, Many times they see in my research, men have a shift in focus from what they've experienced before. So, sort of, they've been focusing on themselves their whole life, and now they realize like there's this small person in the world that that is super vulnerable. They need to provide for this child. So their shift really change. Their focus really changes, but then it depends on how their child's mother is doing. If there's some postpartum depression or anxiety, this can have a huge burden on the dad, because then the dad is now feeling a lot more pressure to take care of more of the child care things and the things around the house, and also the financial responsibilities. And so they can feel, as we said in the beginning, this financial pressure to make sure they can support and provide. Some men also experience some depression or anxiety after having a child, because they may have no experience with a child before, and they're sort of given this baby without any instructions. And so they can be really anxious to do a good job because they want to do a good job, but that they just don't know how to. So they can experience significant stress like that. And lastly, I want to say is that dads who are working now have to really figure out how to balance this this working responsibilities and also the new societal expectations that dads are going to do a lot of the parenting as well. So how do you balance that is a real struggle for some dads.
Absolutely. Dr. Mueller, in this short amount of time, you've just given us so much information. So, for that, I want to thank you and thank you for taking the time to speak with us today about this matter.
Of course, my pleasure. Thanks.
For more information, you can visit the website at montefiore.org/hero and montefiore.org/shr.